Hey guys, Erik here. On today's show of Facebook Friday, we're going to be talking about the market and where it's going and how to do smart things with your money. Guys, winter is coming. You've got to be prepared. Let's get into the show and talk about some smart things you can do with your money so that you can stay alive in the real estate business. So let's go get into the show. Hey guys, and happy Friday, and welcome to Facebook Friday. Erik here with the Orange Stack. Thanks for joining us every week as we uncover how to grow your business, how to do more things with real estate, and just how to use marketing in your business to take more business. It's interesting how many people this week, I saw post something on Facebook about, hey, I'm getting stuck, the leads aren't coming in as fast as I want them to. I'm hoping for more things to come. I'm struggling right now to convert the leads that I have. Guys, the market's shifting, right? If you haven't noticed, winter is upon us, and I know it's March when we're recording this and all that kind of stuff, but if you've ever heard Tony Robbins talk about it, we've been about 10 years, maybe 11 years past the change, the biggest meltdown that the United States has ever seen really in an economy. And you've got to be prepared. It's probably not going to get that bad ever again, but we need to be prepared for the next one. So today we're going to talk about some smart things that you can do with your money as a real estate agent to make sure that you can stay afloat in this business, that you can be here tomorrow, that you're going to be here in another 10 years and still be able to sell real estate. And if you're thinking, Erik, I want to get out of real estate in 10 years. I want to be able to retire and go live on an island and spend my money and do all that kind of stuff. Great. If that's your plan, figure out when that day is. Be ready for it and have your cash set aside for that day. Because what you don't want to happen is the economy to tank halfway through your retirement plan and for you to not be ready to keep living that lifestyle, right? So let's go through some different ways. I got a lot of these ideas from actually a Tom Ferry video that I watched recently. So big shout out to Tom Ferry. Thanks for sharing these. Incredible resource. If you've never worked with anybody in the Tom Ferry organization, he's an incredible coach, has some amazing things to offer. So if you're interested in learning more about that, give me a shout out. I'd love to talk to you more about Tom Ferry coaching. No plug, just wanted to mention he's a great guy. So in today's show, we're going to be talking about 8 ways that you can do smart things with your money. So number 1 is be focused on making money. I think so many of us right now are trying to run our business, right? We're a one-man shop. Most of us are trying to do things on our own. It's just you, yourself, and I. You're trying to do your marketing. You're trying to fill out paperwork. You're getting the sign out there. You're holding open houses. You're knocking doors. You're doing everything. You're a marketing business. You're a real estate business. You've got to handle your accounting. Hopefully there's a couple of those things that you've been able to offset and delegate to other people. There's a bunch of programs out there that help you with payroll and taxes and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you figured that out. Hopefully by now you've hired an assistant in your business. There's a ton of help out there right now for affordable rates that you can just offset some of these things that are probably taking up so much time in your business right now. So figure out, number 1, what those things are and focus on making money. Focus on, as I put it, what are the things in your life right now that are generating income, and go deeper on those. If there's some things that you've had on the back burner for a while and you're like, look, I want to introduce this or I want to try doing that, and maybe they're not absolute guarantee money makers, you might want to keep them on the back burner for a little bit longer and just keep focusing on generating as much cash in your business as you can right now. And I know that you're thinking, look, I'm in an expanding mode right now. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to do some new things. That's great, but focus at least 80% of your time or more on the revenue generating activities in your business that are going to produce more income for you, because that's the goal right now. You got to just stockpile that cash as much as possible. Okay, so focus on your GCI. How much money am I making this year? What are my results from last year, and where am I going this year? I was just watching a video too from Ryan, I can't ever remember his last name, one of the guys from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent shows in New York. And he was talking about how last year he closed, I think it was like $24 million in GCI, and this year it was $19 million. So he actually lost $150 million in closed business. And the market's shifting and things like that happen. I can understand that. I talked to another agent the other day that actually lost 50% of their business year over year from the previous year. So guys, things are changing. You got to be ready for it. So focus on the things that you can do this year to either max out last year and go bigger. How you're going to take more business. There is less transactions going on year over year. So how are you going to take your piece of the pie and keep fighting for what's rightfully yours? Okay, how many homes do you have under contract right now? What are you doing right now to get more homes under contract? Are these homes closing? Are they sitting on the market longer? How's the market in your area? We in Southern California have had some ups and downs over the last year. It's been interesting, but there's more buyers coming out. There's more people listing their homes right now. It's shifting, and so you just got to be aware of these things, and you got to understand where you are in that cycle. We are basically at the end of Q1. By the time you probably watch this, by the time this video rolls out, it'll be the end of Q1. So how are you doing with your goals? Really, you have about 180 days left of this year to really crush it before the fourth quarter comes along. And we know what happens with most agents by the fourth quarter. You guys start drifting down, you start losing momentum. The good agents, the strong ones, hopefully the ones that I'm talking to right now, are keeping that momentum through October, November, December, and they're finishing the year out strong. But for the majority of you, once school starts again, it's just so hard to keep your business afloat. So you've got 180 days to just crush your goals and do as much as you can with it. So remember that this is a 90-day business. You've got to be hustling that way. Okay, the next one is know the ROI of your money, okay? Understand the ROI that you are expecting. What is your money doing for you? If you've got most of your money in a savings account earning 0.00001%, maybe there's a better opportunity for you. The money that you do have, that you have been stockpiling on the side, what is the ROI of it? If you're investing in other businesses or investing in your marketing, what are you expecting that money to do from you? If I give $1 to a company to help me generate sales, am I getting 4 back, or am I actually only getting a $0.50 back, right? Where is your money coming from, and what's the ROI of the money that you're putting out there? Hopefully you're getting a 4, 5, 6x return, if not more, right? So focus on the ROI that you have. Here's another thing. Don't be passive with your money. You got to understand that it's your biggest resource. There's a lot of thought to, I can't remember the guy's name, and I feel bad for not remembering it, but there's a guy that talks about, like, every time I go to work, I put my money out there and I send it to work, and they're my employees. And every day they come back with more friends, right? You send them out with 1, they come back with 2. You send them out with 10, they come back with 15, whatever it is. Have them come back with more money. So every time you put your money out there, understand your ROI. And if you don't know what ROI is, it's return on investment. It's basically how much money do I expect to return on the money that I put out there. Meaning that if I spend $100 on marketing this month, that's a low number, but if I spend $100 on marketing this month, I should get back $150 in sales. Hopefully that's the minimum. Hopefully you're getting back $200, $300, $400, $500 in return on your investment. So know where your money's going and know what kind of an ROI you expect from it. And if it's not generating an ROI like we talked about in number 1, be sure that you drop those results and do something else with your money. They talk about putting your eggs in one basket. If all your eggs are in one basket and you're getting a 1-to-1 ROI, meaning I put out $1, I get back $1, you're losing. But if I put out $10 in 10 different locations, and one brings me back 5, and another brings me back 2, and one brings me back 8, and another comes back empty-handed, you've got to know which ones to drop and which ones to move forward on. You can't just put all your marketing in one effort. You got to spread it out, right? You got to print your mail. You've got to spend your time on the phone. You've got to do more social media ads. You got to get out there. You got to put your word out there and connect with more people. If it takes publishing a section of a magazine, and communicating with your local demographic that way, you've got to understand where your marketing best makes sense. Okay, know where you're spending your money. Number 3, this is gonna be a fun one. Never give up on your leads. This is a crazy story. So there was an agent that I knew, and they had just around 7,000 people in their database. These were previous clients, they were bot leads, they were Zillow leads, they were Realtor.com leads, they were open house leads. They just put all these leads into one big basket, and their CRM was just a mess, okay? So 7,000 people in their database. And I've told this story before, so hopefully you haven't heard this, but I've told it before. So they had 7,000 people in their database, and I was like, okay, who's moving, who's buying, who's selling? Where are these people? Who even bought or sold a house last month? Like, we don't know. We don't know what's going on with all these leads. So the first thing that we did was we went through and we called every one of the leads in that business and just asked a simple question. In the last 6 months, have you bought or sold a piece of real estate? Because we got to weed out, like, who's moving, who's buying, who's staying there. 40% of the people on that list ended up doing something in real estate in the last 6 months. 40%. That's huge. Their average commission was $15,000. So if you're thinking, I need to find more leads, there's more people out there, the ones that I have are garbage, there's somebody else that I haven't talked to yet, there's probably more money in your CRM right now than you need to make for the rest of your life, depending on how many people are in your CRM, obviously. If you're just starting out, you got 20 people in there, maybe not. But go through your database, call these people. Don't worry about the new ones. Call the people that you have. You've already talked to them once, probably. You already met them, shook their hand, sold them a house a while ago. Go through your database. Understand that the leads that you have are gonna be buying or selling a house sometime now or the next 7 years, but contact them. Ask who their friends are. Find out where they are in that process. Ask them the question, is there anything that might change your mind and have you buy or sell a house before 7 years from now? Whatever it is, right? Understand where everybody in your database is. And if you have 7,000 people in your database, hire a couple of VAs to help you with this and go through, call the people, just have a short call and just say, hey, it's Eric, it's been a while. I just want to check up on you. We met a while ago. I'm wondering, how's the real estate? Are you thinking about buying or selling a house in the next 6 months? Or have you bought a house in the last 6 months or so? see where they are, put them in one category, define your leads where they are. Are they A, buying a home in the next 30 to 60 days, B, buying a home probably in the next 6 to 12 months, or C, buying a home in a year plus? Sort your leads, know where they are, follow up as necessary. And if you are buying leads from Zillow or any other platform online, or they're coming in from Facebook, guys, follow up, follow up, follow up. I met an agent who's just crushing it in the Zillow area. He is fantastic. The average close ratio of a Zillow lead is about 1%. And most of you aren't getting anywhere near 100 leads a month. So it's probably not even paying for itself. But this agent was phenomenal at closing Zillow leads. He would call them, he would text them, he would email them. He would even go to their house if he could find their address. And he had a relentless follow-up process. They would get 5 contacts within the first 24 hours from his team. 2 different people would call, they'd send 2 text messages, they'd send an email. It was fantastic. The next day they got, I think it was 3 more reaches, and it kept going down and down and down as the week went on. But over 7 days, it was something like 30 something touches, because they were trying to get a hold of that real estate, or that lead. They didn't let it go. An interesting thing too is that I talked to a Zillow rep who said 40% of our leads are never contacted. 40%, that's crazy. That means if you do buy 100 leads and it costs you $10,000 to buy those 100 leads or whatever it is, that there's a huge chunk of them, 40% of them that you'll never contact. That's the average. That's not the average for this guy. He was a beast at closing those Zillow leads. So if you guys get a lead and you're paying $100 for that lead, follow up, follow up, follow up. Don't let them go, right? As they say, they're gonna buy or they're gonna die, but I'm gonna talk to them. So follow up with your leads. That's number 3. Okay, number 4, stop buying crap. Guys, you spend so much money on stuff that doesn't matter. I mean, I look around my office, I do the same thing. People spend money on things that they don't need. They have stuff that they don't use. If you've seen that show on Netflix recently with a little girl who comes into your house and she says, let's focus on the things that bring you joy in your life and get rid of the stuff that's not. I think people get addicted to Amazon. They get addicted to buying. Some people buy when they're depressed. Some people buy when they're happy. Some people buy both times. They're addicted to shopping. It's so easy to spend money. And Amazon and all these incredible online companies right now make it so easy to spend your money. You don't even have to pull out your credit card anymore. You just hit enter because it stores all your information. Back in the day, you had to go to the mall or go to a store or something like that. You had to pull your wallet out. You felt uncomfortable for a minute about it. But now, I had a daughter who, I think she was 2 years old. She bought me a backpack off Amazon. It's that easy. And she didn't just like click, click, click on my iPad. Didn't even know what she was doing. So don't buy crap. Don't buy the things that you don't need. Go through. I just actually saw this thing. I was at the bank yesterday and I saw this cool little poster that they had on the wall. And it's talking about, being frugal with your money and saving and things like that. But it basically says when you're wanting to buy something, put it in your cart and then think about it for 24 hours before you check out. So if you're gonna buy whatever, new shoes, a new camera, a new briefcase, whatever it is in the next week or 2, just think about that. Put it in your cart and say, do I really need this? Is this something that's gonna bring me joy? Is this something I'm gonna use in my business? What's gonna be the ROI of this item? Spend your money on smart things. And then if after 24 hours, you've convinced yourself that you still need this item, then go ahead and check out and buy that item. But really beware of the money that you're spending. Think about your Starbucks habits, the random food that you buy, the little knickknacks and things that you think you need in the moment when you're there. Maybe you just got home from an event and you're like, oh, I need to have one of these, things because somebody else talked about it. I never heard of it before, but now I have to have it. That's compulsive shopping. So spend money on smart things. Spend money back in your business. Gary Vee talks about this a lot. He says, if you can afford to give up the things in your life in your 20s and 30s that you think you have to have, watches, cars, fancy houses, fancy clothes, shelf all those things until you can afford them and put all that money back in your business. He even goes to the point of saying, sell your house and move back in with your parents if you can, just to save that much money. Start living with roommates if you're single. Start downsizing your life so that you can put this money back in your business, because what it's gonna do is every dollar you put back in your business, instead of in your house into something else, you're gonna get back tenfold if you do it right. So save your money. Don't buy crap. Live more frugally, okay? So here's another interesting one. This isn't number 5 yet. This is still part of number 4. We'll call this 4B. Spend your money on smarter things. So I got into real estate because of investing. I was super excited about flipping houses, owning rental properties, seller finance, all that kind of stuff. I was, I think, 5 years deep into it before I even got my real estate license. So I was not here to service the client. I was here to buy, fix, remodel, and sell houses. And that's what my passion. I was super excited about that. So if you think about the money that's made in America, it's mostly from real estate, right? I remember at one point in time, it was in Utah that I was reading the stat, 40% of the homes that were owned were owned by a non-owner occupied, meaning that it was an investor that owned that property. It was a rental property for somebody. And I don't know what that statistic is across the United States, but guys, if you're in real estate, you should be investing in your trade. You know this business. You understand the benefits of owning real estate. You've seen appreciation. You've seen cash flow. You understand what these things can do. So go take some time this weekend, over the next week, figure out how you can get into real estate investing. And I know the market's doing this right now and you're not sure where it's gonna go, and there is definitely an opportunity to lose money if you don't do it right. But money's made when you hold real estate for long periods of time. So don't go buy a rental and sell it in 4 years or 5 years because you're like, it didn't work for me or I didn't love it. This is like the 30-year plan. This is the I'm gonna retire someday and I'm gonna have a massive amount of cash that I can live off of, passive income. So instead of Starbucks and instead of cars and instead of clothes that are gonna bring you temporary joy, go find something that you can set aside your money and buy that's gonna create passive income. I was in Florida once for a real estate seminar and I met this guy. He's the craziest guy I've ever met. His name, you probably have heard of him before. His name's Pete Fortunato. And I don't know if he changed his last name. I haven't heard that story completely, but Fortunato sounds like an incredible last name to have. This guy looks like he's literally borderline, I gotta stay in a shelter tonight. Like he's got super old worn out clothes. He wears shorts. He's got paint all over his stuff. It looks like he hasn't bathed in a couple weeks. If you've ever met Pete, you know what I'm talking about. He's probably one of the most wealthy people I've ever met in real life. He owns, 500, 600 different rental properties. He started when he was like 22. He would just save every dollar he could and put it back into his rental portfolio. Every opportunity he could get, he'd save money. He obviously is not dressing to impress people. I don't know what kind of car he has, I didn't see that, but he lives super below his means. He puts all his money back into his rental income, and it's smart because now he just enjoys life. He lives off the fruit of his investments from years and years and years ago. So you might think, I can't afford a 20% down payment in my area, and I can't afford to set aside any more money out of my life because I'm tapped out and I'm barely getting by as it is, or I'm putting all this money back into my business just so I can stay afloat. Find a way to sacrifice. There's another story in the book, I think it's Think and Grow Rich. No, it's not Think and Grow Rich. I can't remember. It's another book. But he talks about, I think it was a mailman who, was making like $6.50 an hour at the time. And somebody said, live within, I think it was like 60% of your income. And the guy's like, there's no way that I can live on 60% of my income. And he's like, invest the rest. That's it. Find a way to cut costs, invest the rest. So this guy making $6 something an hour, and this is back in like the 70s. So $6, it is what it is. But figure out where you are now. Try to live within 60% of your income. He was setting this money aside. He was putting it into other things. He was stockpiling on the side so that he could invest in real estate. And so he created all this passive income for his time. And he retired, I think it was at 50, 55 years old, and he had a net worth of over $60 million being a mailman. Okay? So if you said, I can't afford it, there's ways you can afford it. There's things in your life that you can cut out. Again, stop buying the crap. Start investing in something that's going to produce income for you. Okay? You don't have to have, side note, you don't have to have 20% to create a second income, what am I trying to say? Down payment for a second property. There's other ways, there's creative financing, there's so many things that you can do to get into real estate investing besides having to come up with a 20% down payment. So if you're interested in more, let me know. I'd love to talk to you about that for hours and hours and hours. I love real estate investing. Okay, number 5, save more money, which kind of teeters on the last one, but save more money. Again, do you really need the newest iPhone? Do you have to have a new lease every couple years on your car? Go through your credit card statement right now and see, I just actually did this in our business. Go through your credit card statement right now and see what it is that you're spending your money on every single month. Find out what's on a reoccurring payment. You might have 3 gym memberships that you don't even know about. For us, one of the crazy things I didn't even know, we have a program that helps us do some video editing. I've taught a couple classes on it. It's called Animoto, and I love the program, but they're charging us twice, and I didn't even know it. They're charging us for 2 memberships. We only need 1, but they're charging us for 2. And had I not done this, I would have paid for 2 memberships for a long time because I didn't even know that they thought we had 2 accounts. So called up, canceled it. We're saving that money. Go through your credit card statement. Look and see the consistencies. Where are you spending your money? What programs, what apps are you spending money on? Where's your money going every single month that you probably don't need it to be going? So go through your credit card statement. Next part of that is pay yourself first. As the money comes in, pay yourself first. Write that check to yourself. Understand that you need to be motivated. You need that encouragement, that strength, that push. Go pay yourself first, which means not always, paying for that Starbucks or paying for that lifestyle, but pay yourself first and saving money. Put it aside, whatever it's 7%, 20%, 40%, whatever you can live on. set it aside, start at a simple number, let's say 5% right now, and just say, okay, 5% of my income, I'm gonna set aside for savings for an investment property or something that's gonna pay me back in the future. And then in 3 months, make it 6%, and then 7%, and start working your way up. Maybe every month add a percentage to it. Before you'll know it, your overhead will go down because you'll see the benefit of what this can do for you, and you'll start to see that money grow. You'll get more and more excited. So live off less, that's basically it. Number 6, this is a new one that I hadn't really considered, but consolidate your debt. A lot of you guys have credit card debts. You've got 18% interest rates. You've got multiple credit cards. I've been there. I know what it is. I remember when we were first starting out, we went to go get a line of credit for our real estate investing, and they're like, yeah, you got to have like $1 million in the bank to get a $50,000 line of credit. It was crazy. We got hooked up with US Bank, got a couple credit cards to make things work. We were spending, $10,000, $20,000 a month at Home Depot, things like this. So cash flow is a big thing. But a lot of you guys have massive credit card debt. You've got school loans, you've got car loans. Obviously, you probably have a house loan. Consolidate this debt. And here's the thing, right now, we are in a good time to borrow money. There's plenty of money out there and available. Go to your bank. I didn't even know this existed, so I'm, again, learning this from Tom Ferry. This is something I want to learn more about. But go to your bank and say, look, I've got all these credit cards in debt. I want to go consolidate my debt into a more favorable interest rate. You might be paying 18% interest rate on your credit card, but maybe they'll offer to you for 6, right? You never know. Go consolidate all your debt, figure out where all your debt is, go get all your credit cards put together and say, this is where I am. I want to consolidate it, put it all into one place, and then print that number out and see where you are and make a plan to pay it off. Whether you've got $10,000 or $100,000 worth of debt, make a plan. How are you going to pay it off? Know where you are. How are you going to do it month by month by month? Come up with a budget to make it happen, and you'll love it. You'll love how you feel. Once that debt's paid off, it's going to be an incredible feeling for you. So consolidate your debt. Get rid of those super high interest rates that you're paying. You'd be surprised how much of a chunk that's taken off of your income every single month that you don't even realize. Okay, and then along those same notes, while you're in the bank talking about it, go establish lines of credit. And we talked about this just a second ago. Back in 2009, you had to have $1 million in the bank. This is according to Chase. You had to have $1 million in the bank to get a $50,000 line of credit. Banks weren't lending money back then. That was like the last thing on their mind. Right now, they're happy to lend you money. There's so much money available to you. So right now, while things are good and you don't need it, that's the big part. You don't need it. Go set up a line of credit. Don't spend it, just set it up. Maybe you can get 50,000, maybe you can get 100,000, just be ready. Because when you do need it, and the bank's going down and the world's falling apart and you do need it, no one's gonna wanna lend you money. So be ready for it now. Go establish a line of credit, whatever it may be, just be ready for it. Have it set aside for the rainy day when you do need it, or there's an opportunity that comes up, because it's gonna get to the next point. But in 2021, 2022, 2023, 5, whatever it is, there's gonna be some opportunity that you have to invest in something. Could be a rental property, could be another business. Maybe there's another real estate agent in your office who's like, I'm out, I got 7,000 contacts, but I can't keep going. And maybe you can stroke him a check and buy those contacts and close the business that he can't or she can't. So be ready for it. Consolidate your debt and be ready for it. Just don't use it, be ready for it. Tip number 8. Who are you going to be your investors in these future years? Again, there's so much money out there. Start talking to hard money lenders. Start talking to people that have money that are willing to invest and line them up. Because if you've seen some of the investors that have come from the last 10 years and the money that they've made, that winter is coming. That discounted house is going to be available to you someday to buy for 40, 50 cents on the dollar. And if you've got your money lined up and you're ready to go and you can say, look, Mr. Investor, here's this opportunity. We can buy this thing at 50 cents on the dollar. I've got some contractors that I know. We can line this thing up. You can get into that house flipping business like I know so many of you are interested in. It's amazing how when I start telling my story about getting into house flipping, how many people are interested in that and they're too scared to pull the trigger. They don't know where to find the money. They don't know how to get started. The money's out there. It's available. Go line up your investors now. Be ready for it. Your years of real estate experience are going to help. The ability that you have to know this market and to time it and to see where things are going is totally going to help. So go line up your investors now. So here's a few more thoughts on this. That was basically my 8, but here's a few more thoughts. Invest in yourself, guys. Invest in your education. Invest in your abilities. Invest in your marketing skills. Take more classes. Find ways to better your education, because all the education that you stick up here, you can use. And make sure it has a positive ROI. Don't invest in yourself in, let's just call it Bitcoin. Don't go learn how to invest in Bitcoin. Focus on your trade. What are some of the things that you're going to learn that can help you in real estate? Is there a real estate investing course that you could take right now? Is there a seminar that you could go learn more about passive income? Maybe you add in a couple rental properties to your portfolio this year. Invest in yourself so that they can have long-term benefits, okay? Buy assets that produce Passive income, we talked about that. Go buy things that, my dad said, don't buy something that eats while you sleep. So this other side of that is go buy something that pays you when you don't have to work on it. Passive income is incredible, and it's what's going to make you rich in this life. Here's my last thought. Know what you need when you want to retire. If retirement's 5 years away or 50 years away for you, know what you need. How much money do you want to live on at that time? And assume more than you're probably thinking. You're thinking, where I am right now, let's just say I'm living on whatever, $10,000 a month. Probably you want to make that 15 or 20 because life gets more expensive as you get older. The cost of money goes up, everything. So prepare for the future. How much money do I plan to spend in retirement? When I retire, right? So as I'm 50, 60, whatever year that is, how much money am I going to be spending in retirement when income's not coming in? And then you got to know how much of an ROI you need to make on your money. So basically, how much do I need? How much can I take off my nest egg every single month so that my interest pays for my lifestyle? There's a whole bunch of equations you can do that. I'll just keep it simple. Know your interest rates, know your expected ROI, and be prepared. Be ready for that. Life is expensive. The other interesting thing, I forgot to have that stat in here. It was in the description, that's where it was. This is crazy. 69% of America doesn't have $1,000 to their name. Isn't that crazy? 69% of America doesn't have $1,000. $1,000. I can guarantee you that something could go wrong with your car today that's gonna cost you more than $1,000. Don't be in that 69%. This is even more crazy. Less than 15% has more than $10,000. So guys, don't be the average. Be the outlier, be the difference, okay? Save your money, live more frugally, set your money aside, invest in smarter things, focus on revenue generating activities. That's my plea for you this week, guys, so that you can stay in business as winter approaches and the economy shifts and you guys can stay in business. So guys, again, my name is Erik Hammond of the Orange Stack. I appreciate you following along each week. If you're still here and you're still watching and you're still engaged, I appreciate it. The last thing I want to mention is that we started a new show. It's called Ask Erik, and it's going to be Mondays. It is Mondays, 10 a.m. Pacific. We just did our first show last week. It was great. We basically answer your guys' questions. I get a ton of questions. I love the feedback. Please submit more questions to me. I love to answer them. What books am I reading? How do I stay motivated? How do I hire? How do I train? How do I grow my team? All that kind of stuff. I'm happy to answer your questions. It's all about real estate. It's all about you. So get your questions answered and come join our show Mondays, 10 a.m. Pacific. And we're actually going to be shifting that over to our Erik Hammond Facebook page. So we're kind of separating the brands for a little bit. The Orange Stack and the Erik Hammond brand, and you're gonna be able to check that show out on our Erik Hammond brand page. So anyway, thanks again for being here, guys. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Go hold some open houses, and we will see you on the next episode of Facebook Friday. Until then, see you later.